Welcome to Pit Stop for Life Change. My name is John Steigerwald, and I'll be your host today for the program. Pit Stop for Life Change is actually just a podcast for the North Carolina Boys Academy, and I'm excited to be with you today. Got a special guest in our studio, and he's going to be with us for the remainder of the program, and we're from the same town in New York, believe it or not. Yeah, I got a fellow New Yorker here with me, so maybe some of you didn't know that I'm a New Yorker. But he does some of the things that we do here at the Academy, just a different platform. And I want to welcome to our program, I'm going to call him Coach Tony.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, pronounce your last name for us.
Passalacqua.
Yeah, I had a hard time doing that, guys, and I thought, goodness gracious, I'll just refer to him as Coach Tony. You know, Coach, you're from New York.
Yes, I am.
You grew up in New York. You're a contractor, carpenter, but you have a deep love for baseball. Share with us a little bit about your story and your love for baseball, and then we'll kind of just carry on and talk about the boys that you lead.
Well, my story really goes back to 1974 when I got out of high school, and my life path was taking me somewhere that I really didn't want to go. Mm-hmm. My thought was to go, and I was looking to join a motorcycle gang with my brother, my older brother. And God had a twist to it, and I met a girl. And I always tell kids never chase a skirt because that's not the best thing. But in this case, it worked out heavenly for me because my wife started going to a church, and I started following her to church. And little by little, I would move from the back row to the middle of the row, the front row. And before you know it, was one day, I was up at the altar giving my heart to Christ. And in 1976, we were married, and the ministry just went on with whatever God had called us to do. Like you said, I was a contractor. I did carpentry for the longest time. And then back in 92, a terrible accident happened. I got a nail puncture to my knee, which wasn't out of the ordinary. But 2 weeks later, I'd be in the hospital fighting for my life. And in this one morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, my wife found me gone, stopped breathing.
Oh, no.
And they came in, and it was the weirdest thing because I heard everything going on around me, but I couldn't see nothing. It was pitch black.
Wow.
And the voices I heard was like they were coming from like a half a mile down the hall. But through that, I lost my ability to do construction, all of that. And then God said, I got another plan for you. Here's the plan I have. And I went to school, got my degree, became a teacher.
Oh, so you were in education for a while.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now, my baseball background, tied in because of my son playing pro ball and coaching at multiple different levels.
So your son played pro ball?
Yes.
So did you coach your son?
When he was younger, yes, I did.
When he was younger, okay. All righty.
Right up to 14 years.
All right. Awesome.
And at the school, I was able to start a baseball program. It's a Christian school. And I did 13 years there.
Tremendous.
And then I retired.
Tremendous. How long have you been in retirement for?
It was for 10 years.
You are. So you come out of retirement. We'll get there in a moment.
Yes.
There. But I'm really curious about this question. So back at Smithtown Gospel Tabernacle, that's where you came to Christ.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah.
No, actually.
I was upper room?
I came to Christ at a small, tiny church called the Full Gospel Assembly in Islip Terrace.
Okay. So, but did you get married at Smithtown Gospel?
No, at that little church.
Okay, because my wife and I got married at Smithtown Gospel Tabernacle. I love that church. It's our home church.
That's been our home church since 97.
And you guys are partners with this here as mission. You support this program.
Yes.
And you told me you're on the missions board too.
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Good. So you were in education, have a love for the game. Your son played pro ball.
Yes, he did.
Okay. So tell us how this next phase started. You were in retirement, and the Christian school approached you and said, hey, Coach Tony, we got another job for you. Is that?
It was kind of like bait and switch.
Okay.
I was in a board meeting, and Reverend Joe Moss, who's the superintendent of the school, was giving the church board, the vision for the school and the school budget for the upcoming year. So I said, I need to talk to him, tell him what I did at the other school that could be a benefit at Smithtown Christian.
Sports program.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I started talking to him, when he was done with his presentation. He said, I'm going to have my secretary call you and set up a meeting so we could talk some more. I said, great. I got a call the next day, set an appointment 2 days later. I'm in his office, we're talking. I laid out the program for him, wrote it all down. He said, great, I want you to do it here. I'm like, what do you mean?
What?
I said, I could show you, Coach. No. I want you to coach. And to be the honest truth, the only time and the only way I would have come out of retirement to coach again was for Smithtown Christian School.
That's tremendous. We connected earlier this year. I got a phone call from you. We kind of met before.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. I stayed at your house.
Yes.
Yes, I stayed at your house. God forgive me for not remembering all that.
It was a while ago.
It was a long time ago.
You were just starting this
academy.
ministry, yes.
North Carolina Boys Academy. And you called me and you said that, hey, John, is there any possibility that we could come and play some ball down here in the spring? Because in New York at this time, you're still battling 40, 50, maybe even 30 degrees.
Yes.
North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, all these southern states are great places for spring
Yes.
ball to kind of get going, because that was the kind of idea. And I said, sure, we've got the accommodations here. And that was the beginning of this relationship. And you know, Tony, I've shared with you before that I marvel at how God brings people together in the intersections of
Amen.
life. You know, that this entire week that we've been together, we've discovered that we have a kinship of spirit and our hearts are similar linked together. You know, God's got us working here with young men. God's got you working with young men. And here we come together this week. And it's just been really an incredible, magnificent time of fellowship, as well as
Amen.
rich
Yes.
deposits going in to the lives of our students. You've talked to them several times, devotions. You've shared some life-changing messages. Like this morning, you shared that message of people only kind of look at what's right in front of them, and they need to step back to see the bigger picture. That was just
Yes.
a powerful. And then you talked about the battleground, choosing your battleground, how an eagle chooses its battleground. It doesn't wage its war on the ground, because that's not where its advantage is. It wages war in the skies.
Amen.
And so these nuggets of truth have enriched our lives and enriched the students' lives. So talk to us a little bit about, so it's baseball. You have guys that are playing ball. And then we talked about there are players and there are ball players. And what's the difference?
Well, there are only two types of kids who play baseball. There's the kid that plays because they love the game, they want to have fun, they play with their friends, and that's great, and that's the size of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the other one who eats, drinks, and sleeps baseball and will do whatever work they have to do just to get to the next level in their baseball life, whether it's college, pro. And that's where the two are. Neither one is bad. They both are right. You know, it's a matter of a personal preference. You know, with coaching high school baseball, I wanted something when Pastor Joel offered it to me. I wanted something different than the run-of-the-mill baseball. I believe that baseball can be the vehicle to bring the gospel
Absolutely.
in ways and places that you ordinarily might not be able to.
Absolutely. The platform of sports.
Yes.
And isn't that what happened this week here? Isn't that what happened? I mean, you guys have been playing a couple of games. You're 1-1, and you have a game tomorrow.
Yes.
You've been staying here on campus. The campus looks magnificent, friends. These guys, these young men have picked up the rake and the blowers and the weed whackers and have transformed our campus. So they do that in the morning, and then in the afternoon or early evening you have a game.
Yes.
But yesterday you had a day off. Tell us about your day yesterday, because it was powerful, wasn't it?
Oh, it left an indelible mark in my heart and in my life forever. So yesterday we were so fortunate that you hooked us up with Douglas over at the Crawdad Stadium.
The general manager
Yep.
there. Great
So we-
guy, isn't he?
Oh, he's
a wonderful
awesome.
man.
Awesome. And he took us on a great tour, showed us around the place. And then he allowed the boys on the field,
High school boys on the
boys,
semi-pro field.
to work out a little bit. Couldn't go on the infield, but that was okay. Boys didn't mind, and I thought it was the greatest thing. When we were done there, I looked at the coaches, and we tried to look at the time. We had a 3 o'clock appointment at Lenore Ryan to tour the campus with one of my former baseball players. So we said, look, we got nothing else to do. There's nothing close around. Let's shoot to the Billy Graham Library. And we did. And that was such a life-changing moment
That's
for some of my
incredible.
boys. 3 of our boys gave their heart to Jesus at the end of the tour.
Phenomenal, huh? And some of these guys are international students, aren't they?
Yes.
Like you've got them over here going to the Christian school, and then they're playing ball for you
The
too.
one boy that just blows me away, he's from Colombia, and he came about a month ago. God brought him from Colombia all the way to Smithtown to be with us all the way to North Carolina that he can get saved.
That's incredible.
You know, the other one, his cousin, who was from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, told him, you got to look up Coach Tony and you got to play for him. His cousin played for me in high school, came over from the DR, lived with me for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the cousin was a Christian. So this young man's mother calls me, gets in touch with me, we get him into school. He also gives his heart
Gave
to
life
Jesus.
to Christ. I know you called me last night because we were at Fort Liberty, formerly Fort Bragg,
Yes.
with our students yesterday at the International Sniper Competition. But when we touched base last night, all you shared with me, you were so excited about these young men giving their lives to Christ. That was so powerful.
It really was.
Filled your
still.
tanks.
You know, and if I could say it, I'm getting it double-barreled. I'm being blessed by my boys, what they're doing. I am being super blessed by the boys at this academy, seeing the transformation taking place in their lives. Humbles me so much that it just, I can't wait to get home.
So let's transition into that. We've talked about your boys here. You've been here. You've actually did several devotions for our boys, and we got the spectrum here is young men that have experimented with drugs,
yes.
Young men that have experimented with alcohol, guys that have gotten involved in weed, and we can't chase that rabbit, but weed is such an acceptable drug today. That it's ruining a generation, and so we got some of those guys here. Then we got other guys that just have behavioral issues, that have anger issues, guys that come from dysfunctional homes, that got wounds, deep wounds. And they all have wounds in their heart, but they're here for a minimum of 15 months. And our program is structured around relationship, Amen. Right? And then discipline. Those are important things. And being a father figure. And we got a wonderful staff here. And so you've been here just for a little over 4 or 5 days now. Mm-hmm. Just share with us what your observations are. Because there's a dad out there listening, and they're looking for a place for their son. And there's a mom out there listening, and they've checked out our website, and they're saying, could this be the place? And our heart is this: we want a young man to go where they need to go, but also we believe that our program not only transforms young men's lives, but it transforms families. So share with us what you've observed.
I'm telling you right now, if you're out there and you're listening and you're looking for something that could reach your son, that's the place to go, right here. Because I have personally watched as God is moving on young men's lives. It's not easy. I was talking to one of your boys earlier, and I was asking him pointed questions. What was it like when you first got here? And he said it's tough. It's really tough. I said, well, how are you feeling about it now? I am so glad for being here because it's changed my life forever. Mm-hmm. He has broke that cycle of generational curses that would be going through his family and through him in generations to come. He broke that because of the work that's done here.
Yes. Tell us what you shared this morning. You said this is your moment, guys, and your moment is not the word. Remember you were sharing your story this morning, the moment. What was the word that you used for that? Do you remember? It was like you get into a season in life and there are these opportunities that arise and you have to seize it at that time.
I call it a marker moment.
Marker moment, that's it. It's marker moment.
It's when something happens in your life that will alter your life forever.
And trajectory.
Right. It changes the trajectory. And I use the illustration when it's raining and you're driving in a car and you're looking at the windshield or the window of the car, you see the water coming down and it hits maybe a slight piece of dirt or an imperfection in the glass and it kicks it off to the side. Then you watch another piece of water following, that's that little drop, following the same exact track, hits that same spot, but it goes in another different direction. That's us. Those are marker moments that changed the trajectory of our life. And I told the boys, this is your marker moment now. Your trajectory of your life can change forever what you're doing here.
That's so true. That's so true. And, when you said that this morning, and I picked up on it, and I kind of rode that for a little while and challenged them. Because, every young man that is here in our program, we have 19, soon to be 20, every one of them has huge potential. There's no doubt about that. It's whether or not they'll make those decisions. They'll utilize the resources that are around them. And I tell them all the time, guys, listen, we've got a remarkable staff. We've got some ladies here that are mother figures. We have men that are here that are father figures and grandfather figures. We got young men here that are that love the Lord and are walking with Him and impacting our students. But you've got an opportunity here. Will you utilize the resources
Amen.
that are
That's right.
around you?
Yeah.
You know, and allow this to be a marker moment, because, you know, whether it's 15 months or 16 months or 17 months, it's a period of time. And I tell them, or I share with them, I say, guys, let's get the average of a life. Let's say 80 years. Now let's do the math. Okay, so it's 12 months per year times 80. Then you take the 15 months here. It's a fraction of your life, but it can be a significant moment to propel you forward.
Yeah.
Powerful time. Tell me, we're going to be closing out in just a few minutes here. Share with our listeners, you know, what are the 3 top leadership principles that influence your life and the way that you coach?
The 2 at the top, and it doesn't matter what order, but character. And having a godly character, it's something that's based on biblical truth, will always stand the test of time. And people will be able to read that in your leadership skills. The other one is integrity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I tell our boys all the time, people could steal your bats, your gloves, they could take your money, they could take the clothes off your back, they could take your car, they could take anything. But they can never steal your integrity. You have to be willing to give that away freely.
So character, integrity.
Character.
And the third?
And the third one for me would be listening. And probably the most important skill in leadership is being able to listen, being in the room when people are talking
Fully
to you.
present.
Fully present. You know, there are those who will let you talk, but in their mind they say, okay, when are you going to stop talking so I can talk?
Mm-hmm.
That's not listening.
Mm-hmm.
Being engaged, hearing what they're saying, and asking God for you to be able to hear what their heart is saying through their words.
That's so critical, isn't it?
Yes.
You know, we tell our boys it's active listening.
Yes.
Active listening, and we share with our boys, you know, give me your eyes, right? Because if I have their eyes and they're looking at my eyes, then I know they're relationally connected. If they're like all over the map, I know that they're not relationally connected. And so, and a lot of our young men, they come in and they've been torn up relationally, and so just building trust with them.
Yeah.
And I believe you can communicate things through your eyes that you can't communicate through your words. That really has a connection there. And so listening is so critical.
That's why I hit that little phone and all those text messages.
Oh, come on.
Because you can't read. You can't see into someone's eyes just to know what they're trying to say.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You know, and there's so much going on in culture right now. This past weekend we had Parent Weekend and reviewed a book called The Comfort Crisis. And I can't chase it. We're going to have to do a podcast on it sometime. But we really have a comfort crisis in this nation because people are so consumed with comfort, and they don't realize that the trials of life and the struggles of life are actually the vehicles that God uses to develop us and develop character. So, but anyway, thank you for being on the program today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. And what you are doing here and your staff is doing here is mind-boggling. It blows my mind. I've always known about the program from when we first met, when you were first getting ready to start, and I thought the concept was great. I've heard people talk about who came here and came back to church to talk, but now that I am, a witness to it.
10 years now. We're celebrating 10 years.
Yes.
It's incredible. 10 years, and the Lord has been so gracious and so good. We were at Fort Liberty yesterday. We got one of our students that's now a Green Beret, and we've got a great relationship with them, and we'll have to talk about that some other time. But I want to say thank you again for being here. And to all our folks that are listening, thank you for joining us on Pit Stop for Life Change. If you have any questions, please contact us. Our website is www.ncboysacademy.org. That's ncboysacademy.org. And our admissions counselor will be more than willing to speak with you. Shoot us an email, make a phone call, but we'd be glad to serve you. God bless you.